Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Renewal of Red Row, our Spire actual play. This is episode 7, our penultimate episode. Very excited to jump into it. My name's Alyssa. I'll be your game master. Pronouns are they, them, and you can find me online at a disaster queer. And I will pass it to my players to introduce themselves, starting with Joe.
Hello, everybody. I'm Josephine at Scary Dog Friend. I am a co-producer of Bad House RPG, and I will be playing Freddie Rose, the Ink Weaver, girl failure. You understand. I'll pass it to Rook.
Hi, I'm Rook. My pronouns are they, them, and I'll be playing Marigold, the widower bound. Nada.
Hello. My name is Neda or Nur or Amir. Amir's not here, so I get to claim that today. And my pronouns are they, them. And I'm going to be playing De Niro, the knight who uses he, him, and who is trying his best. He's not the stepdad. He's the anyway.
The dad who stepped up.
Unable to join us tonight was Nadine, who plays the character known as Amir. But you can find them online at NE_actor, or I believe NE actor on Blue Sky. So before we jump in, a brief recap of last session. The gang ate soup and decompressed. Was a lot of it. We got a scene with De Niro and Theo sort of reaffirming De Niro's stepdadness. And then we got Amir sneaking out at night after explicitly stopping Freddie and telling her, hey, don't follow me tonight, which shockingly Freddie abided by. But De Niro went out to an address he had received from a note from his old mistress, Adea, who was trying to get him to help take over, a literal neural network up in the Ivory Row? Ivory something. But dear Amir fully divested from that old life, called the guards, and got her pulled in by the private security of this property. So, good for him. And that, I mean, it's good personal growth. And that takes us to today. I think it is probably the next morning. It is the morning of a planned protest of the concerned business owners of Red Row, protesting the revitalization efforts led by Miss Leia Shines the Light, specifically opposed to proposed legislation that is going to be voted on in one day that would basically allow her to decree any bit of land in Red Row part of a revitalization zone and basically eminent domain it, take control of it. So, what are y'all planning to do today?
Is it a morning? What was the time frame again?
Yeah, let's say it's like a late morning, early afternoon. So if there's something you want to do beforehand, you can do it easily enough. I will say that if you go to check on Amir, he does not answer his door.
It's a new era. It's a new leaf of growth and not breaking into people's homes. So we're good. We'll leave that for now. I'll collect the lads that we have at the moment.
Freddy and the lads.
The lads. And I'm gonna ask the two of you, wherever we specifically are, whatever. Should I call Winters?
Why?
Just to make sure there's no plans about anything in particular, that this is just a straight up thing. I don't know.
If you think he trusts you with that sort of information, sure. Yeah.
I mean, he used to trust me with a lot of information, but do you think because it's complicated, we should just see what happens?
Like we're both like holding our tongues right now.
I think if you interesting. I think if you think it's a good idea, I mean, to be fair, it does sound like a good idea to kind of at least get some idea of
At least
what
check
we're
in.
walking into.
Okay.
I'm hoping that a worst case scenario is not that it bites you in the ass somehow. That's the only
Or
thing.
it does.
I can't be. I mean, we'll be in public, so we'll see shit coming. Whatever. Like, sure.
Alyssa, there's not phones, right? I have to go to his house.
You have to go to his house. They're like sort of message spell sending stones, but I think that's not good for long communication.
No.
You could wrangle a pigeon into sending you a letter.
I don't believe in pigeons.
That's
so,
true. That was canon.
Is it? When did
Yeah.
this happen?
Like episode 2.
Okay.
That's right. You think they just die in 5 minutes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm sorry for also the audience that I'm fishing out all of my D10s because I never remember to get them out. But I think for the sake of brevity then, because we're closing in on the protest, the best idea right now, and she'll say to the group, I might just have to fucking find him. Because we need to head down.
I mean, that's assuming you think he's going to be there. Then,
If I see anyone who I know for sure knows him, then that might work.
And Freddie, you know that he's a pretty hands-on guy, and I think it's clear to expect that he will actually be there.
He'll be there.
all right. There's no real easy way to prep for this stuff. So if we're all as physically safe as we can manage, then we can go. Have I seen Theo this morning?
Yeah, I think that as you were sort of heading to whoever's apartment it is that y'all met at, you saw Theo helping Mrs. Jenkins gather up the fantasy equivalent of like water bottles and snacks for people, with the plan that she would be distributing them at the protest.
Okay. Then I at the very least swing by. I'm not gonna be an asshole. I'm gonna tap Mrs. Jenkins when she's in line of sight and give her like a quick hug as a greeting.
she will gladly hug you back and say, "Is everything all right?"
Well, we will find out, won't we? But no, I just wanted to say thank you, because we've obviously never been through this sort of thing before, and I feel like it would be easy to lose track of everything, but you've been helping me out, so even when I have not been asking, maybe I should have been asking, I'm trying to show appreciation.
She sort of sighs and reaches up and gives you like a little like grandmotherly like pat on the cheek and says, "You're a good boy, De Niro, and that Theo is a good kid, and you had a lot to do with that when you didn't have to. And just because we might be leaving this building, moving elsewhere, doesn't mean that we stop being neighbors. Stop caring for each other."
He does the oh shucks movement. That means a lot. Hopefully that doesn't happen, though, because you're a pretty good neighbor.
So are you. You know, I wouldn't be able to keep this garden up. Wouldn't have been able to manage it without you and that marigold.
Well, if all I can give is my time, then, that's enough. And I will tell Marigold you said that. I'm going to probably head out a little before you guys. I don't know what the polite way to say it is. Don't get hurt. I promise it's not because you're old.
When you said "don't get hurt," she sort of smiled, and when you added that caveat, she pulls a face at you, like, "I wasn't thinking it was because I was old, young man."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hence him needing to cover that up with I don't know how to he's like, I said I didn't know how to be polite about it. I normally don't have to look after so many different types of people, different types of abilities, etc., which is not actually to imply anything of your ability either. This is almost like on the clock for me, so I know this is not everyone's job. That's all.
My job has been taking care of this community from before you were born, and I appreciate your concern. And I will do my best to keep safe, but I will also do my best to keep my people safe.
Yeah. I think we're in good hands then. All right. And then he doesn't have anything else, so he starts to turn away.
Yeah, she will let you go. I think Theo comes down from the roof where he had gathered a few last little, like, fruits, snacks, things that could easily be passed out or shared if folks end up hunkering down for a while. Are you coming to the protest?
It is not even that I feel like I have to, but I sort of have to, you know?
No. What? Why?
I don't know. I feel like when we only know so much about the other side, that we have to, I think, just being a little vigilant is sort of necessary. Just so happens that I'm willing to put off any other job responsibilities as long as this goes well. Like, we only have like a day until it all gets resolved. So I want to be there, is what I should say.
I think Theo's both sets of arms sort of curl in a little bit and says, You think it'll be resolved, though? Like, good?
It's like a almost like a watery smile in a sigh. I believe so. I think that is what is scaring the other side potentially. The fact that things may not go their way, which means that this is working, I think, and that there's no reason to stop while we're ahead. It's just when all of our lives are on the line, like I don't know why they wouldn't expect some sort of pushback. And it kind of falls silent.
Well, I'll be there too, so if anything happens, I can help.
Okay, you smiles for real. Hold on a second. He goes into his apartment, which probably just takes a minute, and comes back with what looks like a sort of scuffed miniature version of his own set of armor, like a guard armor, but with an extra set of armholes, so it's like a cuirass with 2 shoulder holes for each side. You could tell that there's, like, he could tell, the camera can tell, the audience can tell, it's sort of old, and that it wasn't like expertly made, but it was waiting for him that he presents it to Theo.
Theo is like vibrating out of his skin, just so excited. He sort of grabs it from your hands, holds it up against his body, and then engulfs you in a hug.
Mm-hmm. Another under the upper shoulder hug again, and then he doesn't say anything. He just like pulls away slowly. He's like, "Okay, I'll help you put it on this one time, so that you get it, because it just clips in the back." He shows his own armor. There's like indeed clasps on the back. That don't look particularly productive or efficient, but it's just designed to keep it on. So he has him T-pose and somberly puts it. Gives him a little head pat when he's done. You look right as rain.
Does this mean they'll give me a sword next? When do I get a sword?
We're gonna have to see how today plays out, young man, because I'm not trying to beat up any people, and I'm trying to set a good example for you. So I'm not coming with a sword either. Okay?
He stares at you just like so intensely, like trying to see if you're lying. But yes, in the face that Joe is making that people in stream cannot see. Just squish face, the way a child does. And says, "Fine, but if it turns out you wish you had a sword, then that means I get one too."
You can say I told you so. And I never give those things out for free, so.
Fine. And he sort of hugs you again and scampers off.
And I return to the group.
Is there anything Marigold would like to do before y'all leave for the protest?
Yeah. Marigold goes up to the roof. And two things. One, he just kind of like takes a deep breath, just kind of like centers himself and kind of looks around. The vegetable plots and all of that, are there still things growing in there, or have they all been emptied?
They have been mostly emptied. It's clear that Mrs. Jenkins doesn't think that you'll be able to stay in the building, and she has sort of stopped taking care to adjust the mirrors, so the plants that actually require sunlight are starting to fade, and much of the vegetables have been picked either for food for this protest or just sort of giving it away before you're evicted. But there are a few sort of scraps, things that weren't quite ready yet.
Cool. Marigold looks around, just kind of taking in the empty hole this process has created in his home, and looks up to the mirrors that have been misaligned and no one's had the energy to fix it, and sighs. And he goes up and he climbs up to the mirrors and he realigns them. And there isn't like pomp and, ceremony about it. It's just kind of this is a chore that needs to be done, and I will do it. And it is kind of like, I feel like Marigold has very much been the voice of reason and logic, and just kind of an advocate for seeing what happens and reacting. But for this, it's just kind of like, no, like, he's going to realign the mirrors. He's not going to lose hope on this garden.
And as Marigold commits this act of faith, up on the rooftops, on the streets below, you can see people starting to gather from the commercial areas, but also some of your neighbors. Right next door, you see Astrid Frank, one of the council members, not gathering for this protest. She is supervising as a guard, a tenant, someone sort of hammers boards into the windows of her office and her office only in her building. And life in Red Row sort of continues. But it is gathering time. So, not Amir. Amir, your character, De Niro, is not bringing any weapons. Is he still wearing armor?
He is wearing his armor, yeah.
And Rook, I assume you bring your dead husband / knife.
Yes.
Does Freddie go armed with anything beyond her words? Her feminine wiles?
Her feminine wiles. Her pussy. No, I don't think she brings her gun. I think that's like not a precedent she wants to set, like, at all.
Great. So, y'all head out. You learned from Mrs. Jenkins or from other neighbors that there's to be a march sort of through the main thoroughways of Red Row, stopping briefly, actually, at Councilwoman Frank's building right next door to yours. So there's a bit of a crowd amassing, but the final stop is Threadneedle Square and the sort of golden statue of the sisters that is being erected there. You get the sense that that particular ending location was driven more by Mr. Winters than the business owners necessarily. But yeah, it's easy enough to slip into with the crowd. And as you do, I think, Freddie, you notice that looking unhappy and maybe slightly hungover, glowering at all the people and especially at a particular corner across the street, you see Captain Morning Rose, one of the other council members who you had not a dalliance, a conversation with.
A conversation. Is he with like a group of people? Like, could I fathomably catch his eye and like get him to like move to where I'm at? I think Freddie is like hooded. Like, she's trying to not be like noticeable. I think she's wearing clothes that are like, you know, she usually just wears basically lingerie at all times and like bell bottoms or something. I don't know. But I think she's wearing, you gotta be simple when you're protesting. And yeah, if it's possible, I think she just tries to like wave him down and like bring him into like a corner somewhere.
Yeah, simple enough. He is dressed in his guard regalia, and was sort of in a group actually with a few other guards who seem surprisingly unhostile to this gathering of people. But you're able to wave him over to sort of an alley tucked next to your building.
And as a reminder, he's like city guard.
He is city guard in poor standing, but yes.
Okay. Yeah, I have him over. I sort of like take my hood off a little bit, but then like quickly put it back down just to be like, this is who I am, like no worries. And I just sort of, I ask him, how are things looking?
Freddie, I wasn't expecting, and he sort of like goes, his hand jerks up as if to sort of smooth his hair back, then realizes that it would be obvious to you and awkwardly stops. Throws it out for a handshake.
Good professional handshake. I'm covering the protest.
Is that I mean, it'll be safe for you. I'll make sure of it.
No
Sort of
worries.
Glares again across the street.
What's got your attention?
This is Freddie, you go make me a compel and either low society or crime roll.
Happily. Compel in low society. 9.
Okay. We met at a low point, so I guess it does no harm, won't harm your thoughts of me to tell you. I've spent a lot of time in debt to a lot of people here, and this is me finally paying it off to that bastard, Mr. Winters. After this, I'll be relatively free to, well, after this and after the vote. But I brought some of my people, some of the people who still hold faith in me despite everything, and we'll keep things under control.
I believe you. No worries about that. I mean, we only met a few days ago, or like literally yesterday.
Yeah, I think 2 days ago.
2 days ago. I don't know if has anything changed your mind at this point?
Being on the side that I'm on here is a pretty clear symbol to the sisters, probably. So I will take that, and I will vote as I should, as I told you that I would.
And knowing that her like public stance has to be with Leia, she doesn't like make any like relief, any like noises in particular. She has like her kind of like complicated woman face. But she just like gives him like sort of a bittersweet nod and smile, and like reach for his hand and like gives it like a squeeze. And it's sort of like, what coddling thing should I say right now to like keep this going? I don't know whether to just say good on you for sticking to your guns.
They're hardly my guns. I've sold them out for decades at this point, but I'm trying.
I will be sort of running around, most likely. I'm not sure if we will see each other very soon, if much at all, after this, but thanks for our conversations.
Stay safe. And I think that he pulls on his wrist, sort of below his sleeve, below the armor, and hands you a white ribbon that you recognize very clearly as a symbol of Stoles.
I smile. I'll sort of tuck it away. I think he'll notice I'm not wearing like anything noticeably related to Stoles. Tuck it in like a pocket, but before I do, I'll like give it a little kiss, put it away, and then I'll slip away and back into on the other side of the corner.
Yeah. People in the crowd maybe notice him blushing a little bit, staring after where you slip away, but that's just Freddy's, general impact. Is there anyone else that y'all would like to look for in this crowd?
If anyone else has one, feel free to go ahead of me, but I'm also still looking for Winters.
I don't think I have anyone I'm particularly looking for.
Same here. I don't know. Since ever, like, if we're not seeing like a general conspicuous nature, like if people are just like dressing plainly, then I don't think De Niro will try to look too hard for like people he knows in the general sense. Just more so concerned about like keeping keeping like the border of like the congregation, like not the border, the front, like the front of the protest moving forward.
Yeah, the group sort of moves slowly through the streets. It started rather mostly with just the business owners, but you see Mrs. Jenkins on the side, and as people come out of buildings, especially buildings from which they have been served eviction notices, you can see her and others sort of stopping to talk and bringing some people in. And as the crowd moves towards Threadneedle Square, it grows, and there are never really much of a guard presence in Red Row, but I think that it's almost conspicuous that no one has shown up yet other than Morning Rose and his small delegation, who are sort of standing along the sides of the front and back of the group for protection rather than like keeping. So, but yeah, as y'all make your way towards Threadneedle Square, I think that Freddy, you do see Mr. Winters. He's surprisingly not at the front of the group. He had maybe started there at the very beginning, but by this point he is sort of off to a side, easy to corner, and maybe even looking to be cornered by you.
He has a sign on his back somewhere. Yeah, I sort of do the same thing if I'm able. Just sort of swoop. Whether or not I'm being conspicuous or inconspicuous, I would like to be conspicuous. I have nothing to sneak. I can try.
Would you like to try?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, give me a sneak and low society or crime.
Low society. That's a 10.
Yeah, you sneak so good. I think that it's possible that Mr. Winters has some other people in the crowd who recognize you and recognize what you're doing and kind of provide some cover, which is also a sign that, yeah, your boy did want to speak with you, if possible.
Christ. Okay, cool. I just poke him on the shoulder, pull him back towards a corner alley situation.
Something that very few people would get away with doing, but he goes sort of pliantly.
How are things looking?
It's a decent crowd. We'll see what the sisters have planned up once we get to Threadneedle, but I don't know, that Captain Morningrose didn't think he'd actually come through, but here he is, and with friends.
Yeah, well, a man who owes that much, I'm sure it would be in his best interest, for sure.
Some people get into debt and decide that there's no way out. It's nice to see that he's growing a little bit of a backbone these days, though bad for business maybe down the line.
I just wanted to ask, to be sure, Any particular plans? Anything I can help with, even?
Sort of cocks his head to the side and looks at you, just really taking you in. Of course, this poor man has not seen you in years, other than your late night rendezvous at his home. How were you asking that question, Freddie? I could never tell. I saw your profile on Shines the Light.
Yeah. I will, especially with you, I don't fucking give a shit about her. And I've made it clear to, no, not clear. I've made it vague to the people that need to be told vaguely of, in that regard, in my association with her, that, oh, I'm here for just the neutral information of it all and blah, whatever. But me, I'm here with a couple of people who care about Red Row. And it's not like I need to disclose where I live exactly to do my work. I haven't even packed at all. I want to make sure that the vote goes the way it should. Majority no. Whatever, not whatever needs to happen, but if there's anybody in particular that I can talk down, scare off, not in the way of your guys, but where information travels into more shady, shadowy regions.
I can't tell if it's just because of the time I've lost track of your tells, or if it feels like you really mean that.
I do really mean it.
The vote isn't a surprise to me, and this demonstration has been in the works quietly for a while. I don't think that we'll need anyone with your particular talents. The guard should be taken care of, and the sisters are throwing all their money at that ghastly statue rather than hiring any sort of extra protection, as far as I can tell. The main concern we have is if Leia shows up. If it were just my business owners, it wouldn't be an issue, but she's persuasive, given a platform, even with your neutral reporting. She came across as persuasive. I'm concerned that she'll be able to turn some of the crowd, given a chance to speak.
If she brings herself as well as her people, I think I can make something work. Especially if certainly all of the people, the company that she keeps around her, are so openly anti-Red Row still existing. There's lots of people that I've met and spoken to these days coming up. And it is very clear who does and doesn't care for Red Row. And you know I can unearth shit from nothing.
Once the vote is shut down, and the sisters and their influence, so tied to Shines the Light, are further shut out, I didn't realize how much you cared about this neighborhood, Freddie, but you could do so much for it coming back to my side.
Mm-hmm. Freddie just, I think an actual sort of facial response, even just a response, whatever, she just kind of goes, I'd like to do something for once. Something that matters.
That's all that I try to do as well. I know that, well, you've never shamed me for my methods before, but some people might.
Just
Or go ahead.
just wanna live somewhere. And for the people that have lived there for all their lives to still have a place that they call home.
He takes it, I think, as the rejection that I assume you are intended. The sort of soft rejection, but rejection. And Mr. Winters is not a man that many people say no to, but you have been the exception in so many ways. And he looks at you, sort of eyes terribly, terribly sad, looks at your face, looks down at your stomach for a moment, back up to your eyes. Well, if you ever change my mind, your mind, you know where I live. And once your house, your home, is secure, I'm not asking to visit. I'm not asking to know where you are. You've set clear boundaries on that, disappearing like you did. But if you won't pledge to work with me, maybe dinner?
Dinner. A few dinners.
He nods, and unless you have anything else, he will head back into the crowd.
I slip away.
Making all the good decisions, Freddie. Yeah. The march continues. There are great protest chants that I did not think of, but they're there. You hear them. They're wonderful. And the group slowly congregates and ends in the sort of cul-de-sac is the wrong word, but like little loop.
Roundabout.
Yeah, roundabout. Where of Threadneedle, or I guess just the square of Threadneedle
Yeah.
Square. There is very little evidence that the sisters themselves will make an appearance. The only sign that they sort of had seen this coming or cared about it is the sort of fence constructed around their statue and the set of guards queuing very close to it but not otherwise interacting with the protest.
Is the statue like fully constructed?
It's like 90% there.
And are
You
these
think
guards
it being
are these guards like specific to the sisters and or separate from the city guard at all? Like what allegiance?
Yeah, they are separate from the city guard, specific just to the sisters.
Private military.
See they all exactly. They all have that little triangle pin that Lorenzo had and seemed so proud of. Yeah, you would think a gold statue would need to be fully formed before it was put up, but this is Spire. It's being magically constructed. But there is presence of Shines the Light. You can see there is a church in the square, the same one that she told you that she offered the first time you met to go down to and take pictures of her helping out there. And she stands in the doorway, flanked on either side by a priest of Lahan, or rather by a Lahan, which is a priest of the goddess. And behind them, surrounding them, a lot of guards. Also in the orbit, but sort of standing around as if like waiting or taking advantage of the protection, but not actually willing to talk to Leia, is you see beautiful Cassian, your dear art friend. No one from the protest, like clearly on orders of Mr. Winters, has gone up particularly to talk to Shines the Light at this point. But she's standing there, clearly attempting to align herself with the church. She wears... The priestesses beside her wear these silver masks and have sort of strands and strings of moonstone. And her mask is like an elaborate version of theirs, rather than the golden hand sort of out in supplication and offering that you saw on the mask when you first saw her. These ones are each holding a stone representing a phase of the moon. The Lahan are priests of a particular phase of the moon and of the sort of most represented phase of the great goddess of Spire, who is one of the like allowed, recognized by the state religion, our glorious mistress. But yeah, the guards seem alert and aware, but not aggressive at this point.
And this is Shines the Light private guard as well.
Yes.
Okay. Presumably De Niro and Marigold were like all together again.
Yeah. The sister's present. So there's like... Is Lorenzo here?
Yeah, Yeah, one of the guards is Lorenzo.
Damn.
There you go.
Can I, like, walk up, kind of like behind, like we're kind of, I imagine like he's looking up at the statue being built, and I kind of just like walk up behind them, just kind of like very close, and just kind of go, quaint.
He startles and pretends not to and says, "Oh, Marigold, there's that famed stealth, the reason that we hire ya." Gives you finger guns.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Marigold's not even like looking at them. Like Marigold's looking like at the statue, just kind of like, yes, indeed. This is why you hired me. And just kind of like, I don't know if Lorenzo would pick up on it, but there's clearly like a tone of kind of like, you goddamn amateur.
They willfully do not pick up on that.
Okay.
But they say, "Are you here for guard duty?" I mean, I don't think anyone contacted you for that, but if you wanted to join in, of course, we'd be happy
No.
to have...
No, I'm not here on guard duty. I'm here because I live here. Kind of looks out to the crowd of Red Row residents who are all here, and just kind of like steps back, like not only to give Lorenzo personal space because Marigold isn't going to be that creepy, but also to kind of like put a divide and like clearly be like, I am with them, not with you.
And yeah, I live here too. Are you... I mean, we weren't sure. We didn't organize like a counter protest, but are you here for the counter protest? Like, Shines the Light is over there. She'd probably take you in. Get it moving.
Lorenzo, genuine question. What is it you do for the sisters?
Whatever it is they need. I'm their I'm their guy. I'm their go-to guy. That's why I'm out here supervising. What do you...
And you're managing okay?
Of course, the sisters are doing great. And that means that I'm doing great as well.
Okay. Interesting. In Marigold's head, like, filed the sisters' organization away as incompetent. Just kind of like the entire thing just kind of like goes into that folder in his head.
To be clear, Lorenzo is not, in fact, their only go-to guy.
Oh,
yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Marigold's just kind of like, okay. Filing that away. That's good. That's good. No, I'm not here for a counter protest. I'm here with the original protest. I just wanted to say hi.
Why? Why are you... Why? I mean, have you heard what her plans are? I mean, are you in one of the buildings?
Have you?
Of course. They're buying up buildings. They're going to fix them up. I mean, I know my apartment is not... Well, before I got promoted, my apartment was not in a good shape, and it's one of the ones. they'll fix them. They'll be able to bring in new businesses. I mean, this gets us an in with high society. Who knows? All the money that'll flow down here. Those philanthropic types love a sob story when they can. And they can get just a taste of it. It makes them feel good to throw us their money, and I say take it. You're a mercenary, Marigold.
I point out Cassian to Lorenzo. You see that guy over there? He's one of the council members went to talk to. Very much that charitable type. His house is a museum of suffering. I know what you're thinking. What on earth does that mean? Trust me, worse than whatever you're thinking. These types don't want to give. They want to take. They want to hose things down, take what they can get, and leave us to rot. I understand your optimism. I understand your hope. Not reality. You're right. They, points at Cassian, Leia, the whole deal. They don't care about us. And if they were actually planning to give their money to us, I'd be more amenable to agreeing with you. But they don't want to give their money to us. They want to flaunt their money to make more money for themselves, while destroying everything that Red Row is. So, I do apologize. I will not be completing the job for the Statisters. And instead, I will be defending my home.
He bristles at that and looks very taken aback that one, you cheated him like this because there's not a whole lot of time left, and two, that you are blatantly saying so to his face. I think a hand goes to the dagger that is strapped very visibly against his waist, and he says, "The sisters don't take kindly to traitors. I spent so long trying to get you a job, get you an inn. I know that you can do good work, Marigold."
I use the Secret of Fear. I take 2 stress to Shadow. So now we'll be checking for Fallout.
Yes, I will roll your Fallout.
I only have 2 at the moment.
That's a 6, you're good.
I don't even I don't even move. Just on a supernatural wavelength. Marigold exudes intent and strength, and just this deeply unsettling calm. Now, Lorenzo. We both know that's not a fight you will win.
What is it? Sorry, what is the impact of this move?
So the move, okay, so the mechanics is that my weapon deals more damage, but the flavor text is essentially my dead husband goes sicko mode and it terrifies my enemies.
Okay. Does this manifest just in the sort of aura and your bearing, or is there any sign that Michael himself has joined?
I think if my weapon was drawn, it would be a lot more noticeable. But I think there's an element of like there's another voice underlying my own. So it sounds like two people are speaking at once. And I don't know how magically inclined Lorenzo is, but there's a potential for anyone watching to just see like a silhouette standing, like looming, like behind me, just kind of like standing over my shoulder.
Yeah, go ahead and make me a. Well, you marked stress already for that, so I'm not going to ask you for a roll. The fact that you have 7 stress and only actually like functionally 2 is absurd.
I made my character in a way.
Lorenzo glares at you, but steps. There's not much room for them to step back, frankly, but they take a half step closer to the fence around the statues and gesture so that the other guards surrounding the statue don't do anything.
I think before I leave, I say, and Lorenzo, just so you know, in our line of work, this is a courtesy few people get. And then I turn, fully just showing my back to them, and I walk away and I blend into the crowd.
Yeah, I mean, that was a very clear threat, and I don't think that they can get it together enough in time to do anything. So, De Niro, Freddy, anyone you want to talk to? Anything you want to do?
So, Lay the Shine, fucking light bitch is here. And she brought a lot of fucking people. The vote hasn't happened quite yet. We're still going through this demonstration. We are worried that she will try to say some shit to stir the crowd in the wrong way. So, I have something, and I want to collaborate with everybody here, where essentially I can make her feel indescribable dread in present events and have her flee the scene, which might have her flee with the guards as well. And then she will become convinced that something strange is going on. I don't want this to turn into a thing where suddenly, like, because of that, people get into danger is the thing. So just huddling with De Niro and Marigold whenever Marigold comes back around from seeing Lorenzo and then from all of us seeing Leia. Freddy kind of, I think, just frowning in thought. What could I do to make her fuck off before the vote? What could I say to her? Something like, it can't be that someone is trying to threaten her. It can't be anything like that. It has to be about her reputation. the land depreciating. I don't know.
Not normally good with this shit, but like, what about the religion angle? Like, I mean, you've worked with her, like, is she like a member of the church or like higher? He looks very lost at his own words.
She's a high priestess, and it seemed like when I spoke to her, she cared a lot about... That's the one thing, though. It did seem like she cared more about her image with the church, with the glorious God Lady, than maybe specific practices that she is actively, outwardly preaching, teaching on her own. I need to see if I can talk to someone from the church, maybe. Even super quick.
If there's someone like that here.
Because she's
Daenerys gonna just
brandishing...
start scanning.
Yeah, she's brandishing herself like shit around in this area, right? If even I can get somebody to like shake her core right now, just someone speaking to her like a third party person, it can't be me. I mean, if we had a solid thing going on between Leia and I could go talk to her, but if I had someone from the church go to her maybe and be like, hey, God said this is all wrong or something, or I don't know what gods are like.
Well, fuck me neither.
I think that's the way.
Maybe, like, Marigold, you can help make this quick. I know the district with the religions in it because I don't have the map in front of me. Is like Ivory. Yes, Pilgrim's Row, which is above.
Yeah.
Above, but relatively close. It's like
Okay.
just above.
Like, if you think it would be fastest, I should say, because I don't know if you're going to use magic or some shit.
Oh yeah.
Most of us won't be able to tell or interfere or help, I suppose, is the bigger thing. But I'll stay here. You two can probably put the fear of a god in her or something. I don't know. There has to be someone who disagrees if they're really, like, if gods are real, which De Niro has said before he's not on board with yet. If gods are real and there's no doubting their existence, then surely their tenets have to be meaningful to someone up there, right? So in that case, I don't think I'll be able to help you much.
My only experience literally is I had to sacrifice something so great to even be a part of it. So we're working with very different layers here. Maybe Amir, if he answered his fucking door, were around. I don't know.
I don't know if he was there. Yeah, you're right. This would be something up his alley.
We can do it.
You're right. We shouldn't lose hope. Let's go do that, and I will help keep things in order. He's been like eyeing the statue, but not with any intent yet. There's clearly like some lingering gazes there. He's more so trying to appraise the thing, but because he doesn't know magic, he's like,
how much this
fuck,
cost?
That's $10.
$10.
Yeah, so,
Dollar, the Spire currency.
You're right.
She kind of looking in between the two of you. Someone should still be just sort of roaming about, but could someone have my back just in the background shadows?
I mean, I'm already spooky, so whatever you do to scare her off, I can back you up supernaturally.
You are... yes. That sounds good.
I'm all natural, baby. I cannot help you.
Oh, natural.
I'll be here.
Okay. God, our glorious giant woman, lady, bald,
Mechanic sicko.
our giant sicko.
Bald.
However I can go about this, and I mean, I don't know if this is specifically what this core move is about. My nose for trouble. If I can find what's out of place, I can find a story. More specifically, Freddie is looking for someone who is like of higher standing with the church. Even more specifically, doesn't have to actually get anything out of this. Someone who looks tense, looks anxious about all of the guards that Leia Shines a Light has brought so close to the church. Like someone of high standing is anxious.
There are two of the priestesses sort of flanking Leia. It's hard to tell how they're feeling. They are sort of fully masked. You can't read their faces.
Yeah.
They might be, and I think they are a little tense. Like this is clearly sort of drawing a line, or it feels like it's drawing a line between them and the community they serve. I think more clearly anxious is in the crowd. You see a woman who is dressed down in a hood, much like you are, but you can see sort of glints of silver, small silver chains braided through her hair under it. And this is clearly another one of the priests who is not standing beside Leia, but is instead part of the protesting crowd, dressing down like a resident of Red Row rather than a representative of the church or a follower of Leia. And very much in a way, like not in an op way, in a I am doing what I feel is right way.
Excellent. Okay. Marigold, do your thing. I have an eye.
Like, do you think? Do you mean like
Follow me.
meld to the shadow?
Meld,
Okay,
whatever
cool.
you. Yeah. You become
lose track
like.
of Marigold.
Oh. Okay. Great. Perfect. I am going to, I don't know if I need to do anything in particular, but she, still using her hood as well, just kind of tries to worm around. I think her like lie about like bumping into people, like just like how she justifies seeming a little off is just sort of like, sorry, I'm just trying to find my mom, just something along those lines. Be emotionally manipulative at all times. And she will sidle next to this woman who is hooded. And now this is Joe's sort of thing of like, should I introduce myself at all? Okay. Freddie's gonna see how long she can go without saying her name first. We're gonna see if she sees my face and see if she knows who I am. Freddie, I think, just gently like taps her like elbow, essentially. Hi, excuse me.
can I help you?
Is there any sort of, I think Freddie will like sort of
So,
pull.
yeah. Is there like a picture of you in the newspaper or like by your bylines ever? Or would you think that she'd be recognizing you like from the community?
I think the community, Freddie is like all over the place, but as much as Freddie can, she doesn't put like where she lives, what she looks like anything really like that. Just Freddie Rose writes about this shit.
So, okay. She looks at you, and there's no look of recognition. Just you're another face in the crowd.
Sister, is it? Priestess?
Oh. I didn't think anyone would notice. She sort of fidgets with another silver train wrapped around her hand. It was foolish of me, I guess.
No, I just sort of, I recognized you just partially affiliated with sort of everything right now. I had I guess a few questions. I don't know if you want to come not so in such a crowded place, I guess.
If you have questions for the church, dear, I'm not on duty.
No,
right now.
not about the church.
Give me a compel and either low society or religion.
Definitely low society.
Marley. Sorry, I wasn't muted for that.
10.
Let's go. Yeah, she will sort of look at you a little quizzically and then lead the way sort of out around most of the crowd, and sort of following maybe a pathway she's walked before, sort of tucked in behind the church. What is it that drew you to seek me out?
As someone who lives here, cares a lot about what's going on, and to also just be frank about it, someone, and would prefer to sort of keep my anonymity if possible, someone who's somewhat covering the demonstration going on right now, and someone who does not stand for the vote of approval for the renewal. I mean, I am curious why it is you are not standing with Ms. Shines the Light, but not that necessarily. I'm curious, from what I've been researching, Shines the Light has been outwardly innocuous with how she puts herself, her business, that sort of thing. I think Freddie is putting on like a kind of personality right now. But is there anything you've noticed, something more inscrutable that you're willing to share? This is from an opinion of someone who does not think well of the situation. And if that is not something you care to associate with, even in confidentiality, I completely understand.
We will carry your 10 forward. And so she runs her hand sort of over top of her hair, pulling the hood down in the process, sort of self-soothing, playing a bit with the silver chains. And after a moment, we'll say, above all, our glorious lady values community. When Leia first approached us with her money, with her intent, and her intent is pure. I believe that about her heart. She does not seek to destroy. We accepted it. We welcomed her here because the need is so great. But that grace, benevolence, desire to do good, unmoored in any real knowledge or understanding of us, of our community. In the end, I fear what her plans will bring upon us. I talked for a moment to that gentleman standing in her court, Cassian something, the Spire type, and he opposes her, actually, but his principles are the same. When he looks at us, looks at our community, all that he can see is pain and suffering and need, and none of the help and beauty and love that we hold. We're people at the end of the day. We're just people the same way that they are, and they refuse to see it. They refuse to listen. And so when Leia offered to help us, we all accepted and put to good use the blankets and the food and the clothes. And when she talked about this renewal project, we were concerned at bringing new interest from Spire, but some of us welcomed it, welcomed the connection with the rest of our community, wanted to expand ourselves beyond just Red Row, but into Spire in general. But the way that she's going about it, we've had 10 congregants just in the last week come to us pained about being evicted, about debt, financial woes, and it's all related to this company, this glass helm that Leia is using for her renewal. And after they registered their complaints, even the most devout, we haven't seen them back at church. The child of one of them came and told us that her mother had gone and sought a new loan with one of those businesses, one of the glass helm fronts, and the next day she just didn't wake up. And it's been happening more and more, and I don't know if it's connected, or if Leia knows about it, but I can't imagine that she's gotten so deeply embedded in whatever it is that this company is doing, what this bank is doing, that she can't. Maybe she thinks of it as a necessary evil? Whatever it is. A small price to pay for the restoral of our city, but it's wrong. It's not something that they asked for. It's not something that we've asked for, and it's wrong. So that's why I'm out like this in the crowd.
Thank you so much for telling me. Some of that I was aware of, but it's pretty serious, and it has been for a while, especially if people have been notably dying because of it. I want to ask you, and it doesn't have to be from you in particular, whatever. It does not benefit the groups that have come here, that they have a potential option, that the potential is even there for people to hear her voice. This is not for her, this is against her. And her even witnessing it, it's wrong. We don't want to make direct action necessarily. But is there someone I could talk to, if not you, another person in the church who may be able to deter her, get her walking backwards with the guards, getting her to disperse so that this can happen without her watchful eye?
Her guards are uncomfortable with her being here, and the easiest way, I think, would be a threat to her security. But of course, I don't know. I don't know what the repercussions of that would be, and I don't want to see them. She turns and sort of looks to where Leia and the two priests are standing still, now sort of conferring. One of them goes back into the church, and you think that maybe they're preparing for some type of speech. The one who just left actually just went inside.
Do you think I could grab her?
Sisters, gently.
No. Yeah.
There's. Go quickly. Talk to her. Talk. Not a threat. Just. Remind her of the virtues of Our Lady.
And sorry, what was her name?
Sister Celine.
Celine. Freddie sort of clasps her hands with the priestess in front of her, and she says, "It's best we don't know each other's names. I don't want to implicate you in anything, and great."
There's a service entrance. We've been leaving it open because we have so many deliveries from up Spire, but right around the back it'll be quicker than figuring out the front door. And she points you to a sort of recessed, large doorway nearby.
Bless you.
And you, child. Stay in the grace. And she pulls her hood back up and leaves.
And I just kind of, if there's like a specific alleyway for me to be able to get to that service entrance to the back of the church, I'm booking it conspicuously. I'm just like speed walking at this point.
Was Marigold listening to this? Is Marigold also heading in that direction?
Yeah, where Freddy goes, Marigold is shadowing.
Yeah.
Cool. Perfect. Yeah, as the sister told you, there is a sort of set of double doors, one of them not even closed all the way, as if they've gotten sort of too much use in the past little bit, and people have stopped sort of caring to close them. And you're able to easily enough sort of sneak into the back of this church. The interior is large and not attempting opulence, but has some delicate silver features and a beautiful sort of glass skylight in the middle of it that reflects down whatever light there is to be gotten here in Red Row. And there are tables set up, food along them, as if they're going to welcome folks in for a meal after whatever it is that happens. And the priest who you saw scuttering's a mean word, scurrying away from the front of the church inside, comes out of a back room. One of those like loud talky cones
Yeah.
in her hand. I have no idea what the word is.
Talkie cone. Yeah, that's definitely not good. Is she like, would I be surprising her as like I kind of come in? Okay. I am gonna pick something up that, like a box that's fully already set down, as if I'm a delivery person. And I like calm my breath because I haven't done any amount of speed walking or jogging or running in like years. So I just kind of go, okay, just like try to breathe and like be composed. Holding a box, seeming like I kind of am walking in like late or sort of like behind or something, and just sort of like accidentally like hit something with my foot and just go, oh God.
Yeah, she will sort of startle, turn back to you, and, you know, not startled at who you are or anything, just at the fact that there's someone here and she didn't notice you, and say, oh, I thought we had already unloaded everything for today. You can, what's in there? Are you all right?
We have, because of the roads, I've just been completely behind, and there was just this one last box, and I just had to, for my own sanity, I just needed to bring it.
think I recognize you. Are you new?
Newer recruit, and it just had to be the day of the demonstration. And I have trust me, so I would love to lie my fucking ass off to convince her to trust me against her better judgment.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me a deception. I mean, this is a...
Deceive.
Let's see. Yeah, so you get an extra die for that, and I think either low... You have low society, so give me a deception low society.
Cool. Freddie cannot be herself. So... Okay, that's a 7.
Ooh, okay. So go ahead and let's see what type of stress makes sense for this. I think maybe we will call this shadow stress, and it will be... Oof. 3.
Okay, I have exactly 3 shadow resistance, so we're good. For now.
Okay. So, yeah, she sort of knows your face now, but looks at you and says, "Oh, of course, yeah, I apologize. This must be a rough first day. I'm sure they mean well, but silly. Cutting off their nose to spite their face."
I'm sorry, what? I'm not really in, I mean, I kind of understand what's going on. What do you mean?
Well, the protesters, they think that the renewal, the change that will be brought, the revitalization, it will change their lives, but for the better. It's just, I think, hard for them to see that and believe it right now.
Oof, 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 oof. Okay. What does Freddie do? What is a... I'm trying to think. I don't have any understanding of... I don't have the map in front of me at all. But is Pilgrim's Row like also a residential area?
It is mostly non-residential. What type of area are you looking for? Like
a place that is not in Red Row that makes sense for someone to be working, or just another place that isn't like totally rich because I'm a delivery person, but I don't live in Red Row.
Yeah, you can say that you are from... Me also frantically pulling up my map. That you're from the Works, which is like the industrial sort of area. And so depending on your preferences, working as a delivery person is, you know, a nice step up and out of the smoke-filled industry.
Yeah, I'm from the Works. I didn't Yeah, it's gotta be better, right? What exactly is the promise? Like when the renewal happens? Are you gonna get like a cool shopping mall or something?
Oh, I mean, nothing as specific of that. It will allow Spire to more easily invest in our neighborhood to sort of identify the places that need it the most and uplift them, renovating apartments for our families, bringing in new people from further up Spire, sort of integrating us more into the community as a whole.
There's so many goddamn things I can do right now. Useless until literally this episode. Okay. This is where we're going to finally do Nameless Dread. Through the perspective of someone, me, who is this third party person from the works. I don't know how specifically in standard casts are supposed to like initiate or anything like that, but like just like the honey sweet words that come from Freddie's mouth. And I think with the sort of veil of trust me also going, I don't know how dim it is exactly also in this church, but just sort of trying to seem scrappy, uninvolved, whatever. My words, I want to seem so casual. They are like very conventional things, but I'm going to start interweaving them with doubt. And I think it's more specifically Freddie is just going to say, from what she was saying like there'll be innovation, the community will integrate itself for the better. Should I kind of say the gist of what I say first, or should I roll first?
Yeah, go ahead and give me that roll, the compel deceive.
Oh, can Marigold do something to help?
Ooh, yeah, what's Marigold gonna do?
So, to be clear, Marigold knows absolute nothing about our glorious lady. But I think, and I, Rook, have the Spire document up, so I have information. But I think the ghosts that are haunting Marigold kind of not visibly surface, but begin to surface and begin to whisper in order to kind of what's the word, make the doubt stronger that Freddy is trying to weave, begins whispering in this person's ear about one of the saints of our glorious lady. So they just kind of whisper, remember Merik, who struck back against those who would try to oppress everyone and was hallowed for it. Just trying to weave in that very religious doubt about are you working for the bad guys? And that's how I help Freddy.
Yeah,
Fuck
go
yeah.
ahead and let's see. I'll take an extra dice for that, Freddy. And I think it's just if you fail, then Marigold will also take stress for it.
Great. So that's a compel. I've compel and deceive, so that's already 3 dice.
Yes, so you should be rolling 4,
Okay.
plus if you have any sort of specialization.
My fucking ass has an investigate blackmail knack, but that was helpful that one time, and I'm grateful for it. Nine.
Let's go. Priestess Slade. Listen. Oh yeah, actually, tell us what you're saying. What are you telling her?
Yeah, from what I remember, even not that I know much. Again, what's going on? From the stories of other instances of this, I know it's really hard for the people that have already lived here. They're gonna have to move, and they're gonna have a rough time. I think I was hearing a little bit about the people from at least someone that their mom, there was like a loan that they couldn't follow up on or something. I don't know if that's like, obviously it's not specific to this, probably. But I know it can get really scary out there. It's the transition and everything must be tough for people, but this greater good thing, right? Like it's for people to suffer so much so suddenly means that like people can come together come together, this whole thing, help house each other, maybe like a couple people have to like live with each other all at once or something, but like that's like a big sleepover or something. Yeah, like I think what you're saying, ultimately, I'm sure you gotta have a lot of hardship all at once, and then ultimately the better thing will come out of it. And are people have a place to stay in the time, or I don't know how it works specifically down here. And then just like this yarn of like this person who doesn't know shit, but hopefully unearthing the things that are like actually happening right now.
And this priest who has spent the last hour outside listening to Cassian murmuring to himself about all of the beautiful suffering here in Red Row, in contrast to Leia's new proposal, and had felt smug about it at the time, but is now hearing your words and hearing you bring everything up and remembering suddenly, for no discernible reason, the lessons of the church, of the saints, of how maybe this isn't as much of a helping hand as it is one sort of holding them down in their place below, up Spire. She sets down the cone that she was going to bring to Leia to allow her to sort of project to the crowd. And she says, "You can bring that box to the room over there and help yourself to any of the food before you go. I'm sorry, I have to take care of something."
Oh yeah,
outside.
Of course. Thanks so much.
Thank you, child. And she moves off to the front.
I'm gonna wait until she like kind of leaves, if possible. I'm just gonna like whisper and just like see wherever Marigold is. Marigold.
As you look over one shoulder, he appears at your other side.
Oh my god.
We
Okay.
really manipulated her, huh?
I manipulate people so fucking hard. Can you just make sure where she's going? Just like follow her.
On it. Marigold shadows her.
Yeah, she leaves through the front door of the church.
I just drop the box. I just fucking put it where I don't go where the fuck.
I hear you drop it, and I look behind me, and I just look at you, and I just point at whatever room the box is meant to go.
Pick it up.
And then I continue shadowing.
Yeah, she scuffles out the front door, not even bothering to close it all the way. There's enough of a mass of people in front that it doesn't really matter. She pushes through. Sort of the guard comes up to Leia's other side and whispers something, not to Leia herself, but to an assistant standing back. And there's a sort of conversation that you can't quite make out over the sounds in the space. And after a moment, the assistant steps forward and mutters something to Leia, who looks around, looks at the crowd, sees none of the sort of counter-protesting that perhaps she had been expecting. Sees support from the sisters only in these guards standing around a golden statue. And with a great deal of grace, gathers her people and starts to leave. The crowd is almost doesn't notice her. There had been a few watching whatever it was that happened at the church. The church is an institution, whether folks are religious or not. It is a place that provides help. But she is almost insignificant in this moment as everyone is caught up in the sort of protest generally rather than the specifics of this one person who came here to sort of change everything. And yeah, the Spire folks start to leave. Cassian, I think, is in their orbit, goes with them, doesn't want to be left here without guards. And Mr. Winters, clearly watching, I think appears towards you, Freddie, in the back of the church. Doesn't say anything, just nods and slides back out. And in the crowd, on the edges, Mrs. Jenkins with her snacks and water, and Theo behind her carrying other boxes, other supplies, looks sort of towards where Leia is leaving and looks to you, De Niro, and smiles and pats your shoulder and says, I always knew that you and Marigold were good boys, but it's nice to see that Freddie of yours coming through as well.
He cracks a smile that only she can see. I'll tell her you said that.
And tell Marigold as well that I'm sure his Michael is very proud of him.
I hope if he doesn't know, that he will. That's going to be the first thing I do when I get to them.
She reaches up, pats you on the cheek, makes sure that you take some water. And Theo, not understanding what has happened, what is happening, but catching the vibe, sort of smiles up at you, pushing, sort of making themselves bigger, pushing their chest out, looking like a proper young lad in their new armor, safe and protected and protective, and is just also so proud. And I think that that is where we will leave our penultimate episode of Red Row. I did not give us a break, for which I apologize. So, channel announcements. Joe, do you want to give them?
Come meet us for Halloween Madness Over Manila will continue its third episode of our split Vampire the Masquerade Hunter the Reckoning series, where I and Alyssa play caitiff vampires of the Philippines, and we attempt to figure out what side of it's clear at this point what side of the revolt that we're on, but what exactly is gonna fucking happen? Red Row, sort of last announcement for that. If not next week, being our finale, we will update y'all on the Twitter, Bad House RPG. And thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. I have been your GM, Alyssa, at A Disaster Queer Online. You can find me, like Joe said, on Madness Over Manila, and also on An Unwavering Force, which is a Star Wars actual play Pathfinder 2e podcast. Very edited. Like, the editing is great. Go listen to it. And I will pass it to our players, starting with Joe, for their plugs.
Josephine, at Scary Dog Friend, co-producer of Badass RPG, have played have played Freddy Rose. You can find me here, find me on Tuesdays, and you can also find me also on Halloween for Kobold Press, a charity stream for Make-A-Wish Foundation. We will be playing a D&D one-shot, horror one-shot, using some very fun, cool Kobold Press stuff, GM'd by Kingdom Mix Films. It's going to be very fun. Halloween will be very fucking sick. That'll be at 3 p.m. ET. Follow Kobold Press. Figure that shit out. I'll pass it over to Rook.
Figure that shit out. Hi, I'm Rook. You can find me on Twitter at RJK Games. You can also find me on Itch with the same username. I don't have anything specific to plug. Honestly, if you want to know what I'll be in, it's probably best to follow one of these three, because if they're in something, I'll probably end up being adjacent to it. Yeah, that's me, Nada.
Hello for the penultimate time. Marley has been trying to not be on screen for this entire time, and I'm tempting fate. Come on. She gave up on me. Okay. So you can find me on Twitter at trans_father and Blue Sky at transfather, no underscores. Definitely not as active, but still in case. Only currently running thing I have going on right now is a Master Order game on Mondays at 5 Pacific Standard Time, like this one. And I will be on Take It Roll on that one. I'm producing. Everything else is coming in the future, so I will talk about it as it comes. Ready to scream and cry and shit. So once more, thank you so much, Alyssa. Back to you.
Yeah, and our last cast member is Nadine, who you can find at NE_actor or NEactor on Blue Sky. Thank you all so much. We will be back next week, same time, same place for our finale. And yeah, bye.